Okay, so today's a pretty significant anniversary.
Oh, it is.
77 years since Gandhi's assassination.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about his legacy.
Right.
Right? And you might be surprised to learn that it's way more complex, especially in Pakistan, than most people realize.
Well, it is interesting, isn't it? We tend to think of Gandhi as this universally beloved figure.
Right.
A symbol of peace and resistance.
Yeah.
But he was actually quite controversial even during his lifetime.
That's what's so intriguing about this deep dive.
Yeah.
We'll take an excerpt from an article that really digs into some of Gandhi's most thought-provoking ideas.
Right.
And asks, are they still relevant in the 21st century, especially for a nation like Pakistan?
The article hones in on 3 key areas of Gandhi's thought: his approach to accommodating diverse cultures and religions, his critique of Western economic models, and of course his unwavering commitment to nonviolent resistance.
And in a world grappling with climate change and political polarization, these ideas feel more timely than ever.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's start with this concept of a diverse India.
Okay.
Gandhi believed that India's strength came not from uniformity, but from its ability to blend different cultures and religions. He even coined a term for it: faculty for assimilation.
And he wrote extensively about this in his book, Hind Swaraj,
Yeah.
arguing quite controversially against the idea of a strictly secular state.
Why would he push back against secularism?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't separating religion from government considered a cornerstone of modern democracy?
Well, for Gandhi, it was about recognizing the deep spiritual ethos of the Indian people.
Right.
And integrating that into the fabric of society.
Okay.
He didn't see religion as something to be separated, but rather a force that could unify a diverse population.
Interesting.
It's a complex idea that certainly challenges many modern perspectives.
It does make you wonder, how can societies today navigate the delicate balance of respecting different religious and cultural identities while fostering a sense of national unity? Are there any lessons we can glean from Gandhi's approach, even if we don't agree with all of his conclusions?
That's a question worth pondering, isn't it? Especially as we see cultural and religious tensions play out on the global stage.
Yeah.
Even though India ultimately chose a secular path, the challenges of multiculturalism are something many nations still wrestle with.
And it's fascinating how this idea of embracing cultural diversity ties into Gandhi's critique of Western economic models.
Right.
He wasn't exactly a fan of mass production and consumerism, was he?
Not at all.
Okay.
Gandhi was deeply skeptical of Western-style industrialization, seeing it as a path towards inequality and environmental destruction. He championed a very different vision, one based on self-sustaining villages and local economies.
Yeah.
He even went so far as to boycott Western-made goods.
Wow.
Can you imagine the impact of such a boycott on a global scale today?
I mean, it would definitely turn the world on its head, wouldn't it?
It would.
And you have to admit, his concerns about sustainability resonate more than ever. We're facing a climate crisis, depletion of natural resources.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gandhi's economic ideas, while seen as radical at the time, almost seem prophetic now.
I see.
They prefigure many of the concerns at the heart of modern movements for localized production and environmentally conscious living.
Right.
He even clashed with some of his contemporaries like Rabindranath Tagore, who saw value in adopting certain aspects of Western modernity for progress.
This makes you think, what aspects of his economic philosophy could be adapted for the 21st century? It's not about rejecting all progress, but finding a path that's more sustainable and equitable, right?
Absolutely. And it speaks to a larger point about challenging assumptions.
Yeah.
Gandhi wasn't just critiquing economics. He was questioning the very definition of progress as defined by the West. It's a powerful reminder to examine the values that underlie our systems and structures.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's interesting how even back then there were these contrasting views on what progress should look like.
Right.
But shifting gears a bit, what really cemented Gandhi's place in history was his unwavering commitment to nonviolent resistance. It's more than just a tactic, isn't it?
Absolutely. For Gandhi, nonviolence was a way of life.
Right.
A moral principle deeply rooted in his philosophy, and he demonstrated its power time and again.
The Salt March in 1930 is a prime example.
Oh, yeah.
Gandhi leading thousands of Indians to make their own salt,
Right.
defying British taxes. What strikes me is how he managed to challenge the very foundation of British rule without resorting to any violence.
That's what made the Salt March so brilliant.
Yeah.
It exposed the inherent violence of the colonial system by simply choosing to peacefully disobey an unjust law.
Interesting.
It really shifted the narrative on a global scale, when you say.
It definitely captured the world's attention. But how do you think this concept of nonviolent resistance holds up today? It seems like there are so many different perspectives on its effectiveness.
You're right. There's no simple answer.
Right.
Some argue that it's only truly effective when there's a powerful audience watching, ready to be swayed.
Yeah.
Others point to situations where nonviolent movements haven't achieved their goals.
Right.
Or even faced brutal crackdowns.
So it makes you wonder, what are the factors that determine the success or failure of nonviolent resistance in different contexts? It's something to really consider, especially when we look at all the protests and movements happening around the world today.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but regardless of the debate surrounding its effectiveness, Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolence has undeniably inspired countless movements for social change. From Martin Luther King Jr. to the Arab Spring uprisings, his ideas continue to resonate.
It's incredible how his legacy transcends borders and time.
Absolutely.
But speaking of borders, this article specifically calls on Pakistan to engage with Gandhi's thought. Given the historical context, a partition that feels particularly significant, doesn't it?
It does. After all, Gandhi vehemently opposed the partition of India. And yet, here's this call for Pakistan to delve into his teachings. It suggests there might be something universal in his message that goes beyond political divides.
It almost feels like a call for a deeper examination of shared history and values.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that even figures we might consider opposed to our national narrative can offer valuable insights.
Right.
It challenges us to look beyond those labels and engage critically with their ideas.
So instead of simply dismissing Gandhi because of the historical context, it's about understanding why he held certain beliefs, even if we ultimately disagree with them.
Exactly. Acknowledging the complexity of history allows for a more nuanced understanding. It's about recognizing that people's ideas are shaped by their experiences and the world they lived in.
And speaking of how experiences shape ideas, the article emphasizes how Gandhi seemingly predicted many of the major issues of the 20th century.
He did.
It's almost eerie how his warnings about unchecked industrialization and the dangers of material obsession are even more relevant now.
He was talking about climate change and global inequality long before they became mainstream concerns.
It's true.
It really makes you wonder, if he was so insightful about the 20th century, what can we learn from him to navigate the challenges of the 21st?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
Are his ideas about self-sufficiency, nonviolence, and intercultural harmony still applicable today, or are they relics of a bygone era?
That's something each of us needs to wrestle with.
Right.
There are those who view Gandhi's philosophy as too idealistic or impractical for our modern world.
And I can see that.
And then there are those who find his ideas more relevant than ever, especially given the global crises we face.
There's no easy answer, but the fact that we're still grappling with his ideas decades later speaks volumes about their enduring power. It's not about blindly accepting everything he said, but engaging with his thought process.
Right.
Analyzing his arguments and seeing what resonates with us individually.
Exactly. That's what critical thinking is all about. Engaging with ideas, even those we might initially disagree with, can lead to a deeper understanding of the world and ourselves.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Gandhi's legacy, I have one final thought to leave you with.
Okay.
The article argues that Gandhi predicted many of the 20th century's biggest issues.
He did, and it raises a very important question for all of us.
Could his ideas help us navigate the complexities of the 21st century, or are they outdated? What do you think?
That's a question each listener needs to ponder. There's no simple yes or no answer, but I do believe that Gandhi's life and work offer a powerful reminder that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges, individuals can make a difference.
And that sometimes ideas that seem radical or unconventional can have a profound impact on the world.
Absolutely. Looking to the past, engaging with figures like Gandhi can often provide the insights and inspiration we need to create a better future.
So where do you see connections between Gandhi's ideas and the world today? What resonates with you personally? Perhaps there's a Gandhian solution to a problem that's been on your mind, or a way to apply his principles to your own life. It's definitely something to reflect on.
It is food for thought. And, this exploration of Gandhi's legacy has me thinking, are there other historical figures whose ideas might be surprisingly relevant to us now?
That's a great question. We should definitely delve into that in a future deep dive because sometimes the answers to our most pressing questions lie in the wisdom of those who came before us.
As we navigate an increasingly complex world, it becomes even more crucial to learn from the past, to question our assumptions, and to be open to new ideas, even those that challenge our existing worldview.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning. That's the best way to honor the legacy of a thinker like Gandhi and to create a future worthy of his ideals. It's interesting that the article specifically mentions how Gandhi's teachings are largely absent from Pakistani history books.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, you have to consider the historical context.
Right.
Gandhi was a staunch advocate for a unified India and vehemently opposed the partition that led to the creation of Pakistan.
And his assassination happened just a few months after partition.
Right.
So those wounds were still very raw.
Oh, absolutely.
It makes sense that there might be a reluctance to embrace someone so closely associated with the movement for Indian independence.
Exactly. In the years following independence, there was a natural tendency for Pakistan to forge its own distinct national identity, separate from India. That often involves emphasizing figures and narratives that support the idea of a unique Pakistani story.
So it's less about rejecting Gandhi's ideas outright and more about shaping a national narrative that prioritizes figures who champion the creation of Pakistan.
Precisely, but what's intriguing about this article is that it suggests it might be time for Pakistan to re-examine its relationship with Gandhi's legacy.
It's almost like the author is saying, look, we understand the historical complexities, but there's still valuable lessons to be learned from Gandhi.
Right. It's not about erasing history or denying the validity of Pakistan's national identity.
Right.
It's about recognizing that engaging with Gandhi's ideas, even if you don't agree with everything he said or did, can offer new perspectives.
It's about embracing the nuances of history.
Yes.
And being open to multiple interpretations, even those that might initially seem contradictory to our understanding.
Exactly. And this idea of challenging our own assumptions and engaging with ideas that might make us uncomfortable can lead to a deeper, richer understanding of the world and ourselves.
It's something we can all learn from, wouldn't you say?
I think so.
No matter where we're from or what our beliefs are.
Absolutely. And it's especially important in today's world where it's so easy to get caught up in our own echo chambers and surround ourselves only with voices that confirm our existing beliefs.
It's like we're constantly being told what to think.
Yeah.
Rather than being encouraged to think for ourselves.
And that's where figures like Gandhi become so important.
Right.
They challenge us to step outside of those echo chambers, to engage with different perspectives, and to form our own conclusions.
So to wrap things up, I think this deep dive has shown us that Gandhi's legacy is far more complex and multifaceted than we might have initially realized.
It is complex.
His ideas about diversity, sustainability, and nonviolent resistance continue to resonate today, pushing us to think critically about the world we inhabit and the future we want to create.
Absolutely.
And while his message was certainly rooted in the context of India's struggle for independence, there are universal truths in his teachings that transcend borders and nationalities.
I think so.
It's a testament to the enduring legacy of a truly remarkable figure like Gandhi.
Yeah.
So for all of you listening, I hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and encouraged you to explore Gandhi's ideas further. There's always more to learn, more to discover.
And remember, engaging with complex ideas is a journey, not a destination. So keep asking questions, keep challenging yourselves, and keep seeking out diverse perspectives.
Because ultimately, that's how we grow both as individuals and as a society.